Well, good afternoon. It's Sunday the 6th of July 2014. I'm just about to take you on a little short trip around Herne Bay using the Mark II over-the-shoulder camera mount, which I constructed out of spare parts and bits this morning, and we're going to have a look, see how we go. This is being filmed on a Nikon D5300 40mm fixed focal length lens on board. Movie mode, 1080p, 24 frames per second. The mount I constructed, I said this morning, it's been an idea that's been floating around my head for a little while. I couldn't quite think how to mount the camera itself to give pan and tilt movement if it was required, and to make adjustments, but the answer was staring me in the face, and I found a tripod head, in fact a whole tripod, that I bought at a car boot sale for about £2 a few years ago, and I just whipped off the shaft and constructed a few homemade U-bolts, and using a piece of square section mild steel tube attached to the headrest stems via U-bolts seems to be quite effective. The amount of vibration you'll get is dependent obviously on the lens, but also of course on how smooth your car might be. If you've got hard, firm suspension, you're going to struggle a little bit. This is actually the Hyundai Santa Fe, which is fairly smooth, but the roads around here are pretty terrible. So we're just coming down towards the sea now. It'll be interesting to see how the autofocus holds up through the windscreen. I do have a bit of a concern it might be trying to focus on the windscreen. And I must admit, I don't know how the camera functions in movie mode, in terms of its settings, how much affects the movers and how much doesn't. So there we go, quick glimpse of the sea for you. These are very, very bumpy roads, so don't be put off too much. On smooth roads, I think it's going to be very, very effective. We are just brightening up here in Herne Bay after what's been a very, very wet morning. The weather forecast said it'd clear off about 3 o'clock, and sure enough it's 2:30 now, and it looks like they were probably right. You may see, as we just turn the corner there, a couple of jet skis out and about. Very popular for jet skiing down here. It's one of the only places on the North Kent coast, or indeed on the South Coast, that still allow jet ski on the foreshore, jet skiing on the foreshore. But it's made it very, very popular. Most days most weekend days, come rain or shine, you can see a few hardy souls out there. So I'm just going to turn right here now, down towards the seafront itself. Okay, it's been pretty wet today, so we won't find the usual crowds, I'm sure. This place is buzzing, really buzzing on a pleasant summer's day. In fact, all through the year when you get a nice sunny day. A very popular spot. Get extremely congested down the seafront here, although there is plenty of parking both off street and on street. And thankfully the quite reasonable charges. I think that's why a lot of people head down here. Here we go. Now you can probably make out the clock tower up in front, and that is the oldest freestanding clock tower in the world, erected in 1837, and now actually being refurbished thanks to a grant from the Heritage Lottery Commission. The stonework's being patched up, the clock movement is being serviced, and plus they're installing webcams on the top, so you'll be able to get a 360-degree panoramic view of Herne Bay, morning, noon and night, from the luxury of your computer screen. That work scheduled to take about 4 or 5 months. See some of the few hardy souls out. It's not cold, it's currently 18 degrees, very pleasant, a little bit humid, but not a bad afternoon at all. And as we sort of round this bend, we'll see the bandstand, which is what it suggests. It's a bandstand. You get brass bands on there in some summer afternoons, plus there's a very nice cafe in there, and interestingly an Indian restaurant that has branched out to do Indian snacks and cold beer of an afternoon, which is again proving very popular. Something a little bit different. You see, although it's not the greatest of days, plenty of people and cars around. Now heading up towards the pier. Not really a complete pier. We've got the pier head. It used to be the second longest pier in the UK after Southend, but unfortunately it blew down in storms in 1997, and it's just financially prohibitive to rebuild it. Some estimates talk about £70+ million for a rebuild. So sadly, it's not the second longest pier in the world anymore. In fact, we just have the pier head out to sea and the near shore, which they're developing at the moment. It's great to see there's retail on there, beach huts. They're going to use the venue later for live concerts and fireworks and what have you, so it should be quite pleasant. Lifeguard hut just off to our right. I don't expect they're very busy today. Ubiquitous amusement arcades, passing the Crazy Golf now on our left. We'll just be able to make off that land just off to the centre right, sticking out. That's the Isle of Sheppey. Just going to swing around this roundabout, you get a better view of things. Isle of Sheppey, pier head, and now the new, I suppose you must call it the pier, with its Helter Skelter on and various other attractions. I'm of course going to use this this video as an audition to get a job for as a tourist guide on board of coaches. I think there's a great future for me in tourism and commentary. I could make up all sorts of things. For instance, the pier off to our left here is where the Dutch landed in 1637 under the reign of the House of Orange. There's the last attack. Last time we were invaded, in fact, it was unsuccessful. The Dutch quickly turned around. Actually, that's not true at all. That did happen, but it was up in Chatham. I'm just testing out for the tourism guide. And as we said, bandstand and clock tower just coming to view again. The site of the Battle of Waterloo, featuring when Winston Churchill single-handedly fought off Attila the Hun. Gentleman there waiting to cross the road. I don't know if he's just loitering with intent, or I think I'll just stop here anyway to see if he is loitering. Oh no, he did really want to cross. He was looking a little bit uncertain. I think he felt he had to cross in the end. They're happy people. To get your bearings, we're heading west to east now in the direction of Margate. lots of pubs and ice cream parlours, pie and mash shop, fish and chip shops, coffee bars. And just off to my right here, you may just see it with the green front, that's the talk of the town. No, it really is called the talk of the town. I'm sure it's not the talk of the town. Well, actually, I can tell you it's not the talk of the town because I've never heard anybody talk about it. But I suppose it might have been once. It certainly isn't now. And lots of sailing boats out there from Herne Bay Sailing Club. Definitely more people than there were down here even an hour ago. I came down an hour ago and it was quite desolate. It was still raining then, but of course cheering up a little bit now, and the people are venturing out. The ship just ahead and to the right, oldest pub in Herne Bay, reputed to once have housed smugglers, and there was an incident on the shore opposite of smugglers being shot and all sorts, excise men from Canterbury, and very exciting. Nothing like that happens around here now, I'm sure. Just off centre left you may see Reculver Towers. That's an old Norman church, although the whole area goes back to Roman times, and even before that. Back up the Lees, very popular spot with picnickers, dog walkers, anybody else who feels they can tackle the hill. Get a lot of camper vans park up overnight around here. There's nothing to say they can't, and good luck to them. You get great, fantastic sunsets. Can't think of a much better place to park up for the night. Indeed, there's 3 of them I can see as we come around the bend. Lots of free parking in Herne Bay. It's one of the really great things about this place. You can stop pretty much anywhere. There's no restrictions along here in town. We've got free parking bays for up to an hour. Off-street parking's pretty inexpensive. Which helps a lot. And you may just see now, you can see Reculver Towers up in front of you. That's about 2.5 miles away. You may see a few ships also moored out in the moored out there off Margate. It's a holding point there for Port of London and also Felixstowe. They get a lot of traffic, they'll hold them there rather than cause congestion in the major seaways. So just round that 90-degree bend now on the way back to base. I do hope this has been recording and I haven't been talking to myself for the last 8 or 9 minutes, although it's quite possible. Between you and me, I did that earlier. I see the camera shaking about a bit. It'd be interesting to see what the actual video turns out like. I might have to think of a way to introduce some better dampening into the rig. What sort of car is that? It looks like it should be a toy car. Back to the delightful Ashby Gardens. And back where we started. Well, I hope that worked. Hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I'll see you again sometime.